What's going on, boys and girls? Today's video is about changing the batteries in these APXs. All right, if you're wondering where they're located, you would think it would be behind an old, like a battery cover, like motorcycles, but what they do is they hide it under this plastic tank. So we're gonna have to remove it. The way you remove it is the seat comes out first by a couple of screws at the back, gets lifted out, and the same thing with the tank. And these are the batteries you're gonna look for. Purchased on Amazon. It was a two for, I think two for like 25, which is not bad. So we're gonna get to it. We're gonna change the batteries out in both of these guys, and we'll see what it looks like when we take the tanks off. Had to take the assembly off, the light assembly, to get to the screws because one of these screws was stripped. Once you remove them, lift up the seat, this comes out, and we're getting closer. Just have to remove this screw. Looks like we're missing one. We're going to take the tank off and see what we got underneath. Now that the seat's removed, you remove the two screws here, the one at the top. Before you lift this tank off, you got to take the gas cap off. All right, put this aside, and we're going to lift this up. Lift it up and bring it to the side. Okay, and here is the battery compartment. This is where the battery is located. So we are going to figure this out, take it off, and make sure when you're under here, make sure all these clips are clean, make sure they're all pushed in, and none of these wires are damaged. Obviously with this one, it's never been used, so it's in perfect condition. But others, you want to just check all your harnesses and make sure everything is plugged in. See, this one's a little bit loose here. We're going to squeeze it in. All right, so let's get to the battery. All right, so we got the battery out. What I found out was the last person wrapped it in here and they put, it looks like Scotch tape. All right, and they had the little connector here. What we have to do is we have to actually solder it like the original. So we're gonna break the solder on the old batteries, the little soldering iron, and then I'm gonna re-solder it to the new batteries, okay? Pretty basic. You're gonna just lay your wire on top. You're gonna use some solder with flux, and it's gonna just solder right to the connections, but we're gonna use the two new ones. So what we wanna do now is we wanna take a new battery, get the old ones out of here. We wanna take a new one. Get the tape off. Take your little connectors off. If you have these type connectors, you can solder your wire to them. But the way these were from the factory is they would take the wire. This is actually cut wrong. You want to have a thicker wire. And you're going to place the wire right on top and just solder it right to the connection. Then we can cover it with some paint, the rubber paint for the electrical paint, and I'll show you how we do that. So again, we got to cut this. You want the full thickness of the wire. You can see this is a little bit thin, so we're gonna have to cut that back. See this thickness? You want the thickness of the wire. So that's what's going to give you a good charge. We're going to cut this short a little bit. I want it the length of that connector. Same with this guy here. Look at this tape. You never put masking tape or whatever the hell this is on here. Strip it back. Same length, okay. So obviously we're going to take the red. Red goes to red, green goes to black. So, get ourselves some solder. This solder here has flux actually inside the solder. We're going to get our red. It'd be, if you have someone else to help you, it'd be a lot easier. You want to just have this down on the connector. Then you go ahead and you load up your iron. Basically want to get a good connection like this. All right, we're going to neaten that up. We're going to do the same on the other side. Then we're going to insert this battery back into the frame there. Before I do it, I'm going to put a little bit of that rubber paint to seal this off from any kind of future corrosion or anything. Liquid electrical tape. Just want to put this on here really quick. You don't need to put a lot. I just cover it up. It's almost like what it was on when I had the stuff they wrap it with was like a rubber. This is the same thing. This will dry. All right, and it'll protect it from corrosion in the future. All right, we'll let that dry, and then we're going to stick the battery back into the bike here. As you can see, a lot of connections. You want to just go through and check them all, make sure there's no issues with them. All right, everything looks nice and clean. We're going to put the battery in. We're going to reinstall everything the way we took it apart, and we're going to see if the starter will work. The starters in these little guys here are right here. All right, you can see the little starter. You see the wire. It's always a good idea while you're putting things back together, and if you see some exposed wiring and you can't get this guy back in to protect it, it wouldn't hurt to take some of the electrical paint, that coating paint, and just kind of dab it. You know what I mean? Just get it in there, protects it from the elements. Get the extra off. You don't want it on the paint. All right, so all these little connections will be protected from the weather. Like in here. You know, it's attention to detail. You can just do a little bit. You don't have to go crazy. You want to gum that in. You want to get that in there, in the connections. And this stuff will dry like a rubber coating. All right, so let's get to it. We got to install that battery. This one's done. All right, put the gas cap back on, turn it, use the blinker. There you go. We got the blinker. We got the other side. Nice. We got the brake. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, we got the brake. All right, we're good to go. All right, the second one is done, soldered, and I painted it with the liquid electrical tape, and we'll install that into the blue one over there. All right, with these, you got to squeeze the front brake here, left side. Put your choke on, squeeze the brake, push the button. let it warm up. Let the choke warm it up. Nice, man. These batteries worked out well. Started right up. And that is how you change the battery in one of these APX mini bikes. All right. Stay tuned. We're going to take these things out in the next video into a field, and we'll see how they take a little bit of a beating. Catch you on the next one, bro. All right, so both of them are put together. Batteries, both starters work. They both start up just fine. And that is how you change the batteries in these Apex mini bikes. All right. Pretty much any mini bike that or a scooter that needs a battery, if you don't have the proper connections, you can do the same type of connections that I showed you. Hope this helped out, and we will catch you on the next one.